Folks, welcome here to the Soul Sessions. I'm your host, Soul, but with me today, they're hell of a team. They like to bring the sunshine wherever they go because they're former Progress and Rev Pro Tag Team Champions, Sunshine Machine, TK Cooper and Chuck Mambo. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Hey.
Hello.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having
us. So, obviously, as I say, on the show, every guest has a story and every story has a beginning. So I want to know, TK, how did your story begin as a wrestling fan?
Oh gosh, probably just a serendipitous. Parents put it on the telly, and that was it. Really, we back in the day, you seldom got wrestling in New Zealand, and to be honest, I don't even I was such a young child when it all came about, so I couldn't even tell you the exact time or date or when it was. But one time it was on television, and then I just tried to keep up with it as much as possible until we're here today.
Fair dues, my friend. Now, Chuck, my friend, how did your story begin as a wrestling fan?
My story is actually slightly stranger than that. My cat ran away when I was 7 years old. Cassandra was her name. A lovely cat. But we were just talking about, I live in the countryside, right? And I had to chase her for 3 miles, wound up in a barn, and the cat had gotten into a fight with a dog. I kicked the dog off. Turns out the dog's owner is this big old farmer. He blasts me in the head, puts me into what'd you call that? Chicken wing? I'm crying, I'm tapping out. I'm like, oh my God, what was I thinking? And then I vowed that day, I would get revenge on that son of a bitch farmer. And sure enough, it turned out to be Hillbilly Jim. He became my mentor. He showed me the ropes, and that was all a lie. I'm sorry.
Oh, you love a bit of a story here, my friend, indeed. But obviously, TK, go back to yourself, pal. Obviously, from New Zealand, beautiful country in itself, but the wrestling scene there, I'm not too quite familiar with it. Was it quite?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be ashamed if you. I wouldn't be embarrassed if you weren't familiar with it. That's okay. I will say when I first found out about New Zealand wrestling at all, as far as I know, there were only 3 promotions in the whole country, and only one in the city I'm from, Auckland. Since I've lived over here in the UK for as long as the 7 or 8 years I've been here, the scene has grown exponentially. More people have done similar stuff to me, where they've come and done 2-year stints in England and just tried to learn. People have gone to Mexico and gone back. It's just more of the lack of knowledge New Zealand has. So thankfully people have started to get beyond their means and go abroad and bring information back so more people can learn more about wrestling and stuff. So that's how more promotions have started in back home, because they've just become more experienced people to guide the future.
Of course, absolutely. Yeah, great to see the future. And I know you were quite successful in New Zealand. You were a former 3-time tag team champion there, if I'm correct, yes?
That's what they tell me. Yeah.
Well, hey, it's a great thing to have on your resume. Winning a championship in your home country and now seeing the scene thrive now. That's going to be quite an achievement for you, mate, right?
Yeah, no, I love it. I'm really happy for everybody back home. I'm really glad that there is more than what there was when I started. For instance, when I was wrestling in New Zealand, we could of the 3 promotions that existed, it was an 8-hour car journey between Auckland and Wellington. So it was a considerable trek. And we didn't really do it that often, as there wasn't, because there were so few and far between promotions. There wasn't exactly many spots on the other cards, because obviously everyone's trying to facilitate their own show, so they're not really looking to use people further afield. But now, from what I'm aware of, there's so much more work for the guys and girls of the wrestling scene in New Zealand, that it's a wonderful place to be.
Oh, hey, great to see wrestling thrive, not even in our home country, the UK, but elsewhere in the world. Truly means the business is alive and kicking. Now, Chuck, my friend, obviously our British scene, started small and is now massive with so much going on. When you started, what was the wrestling scene like in the UK?
It was pretty small. I'm gonna be honest. I had 2 kind of goes around, because when I must have started when I was maybe 15 or something like that, in a town hall in, I want to say, Quedgley. Town hall. It was like a village hall, and the ring or whatever had like a gas heater hanging above from the ceiling, so you couldn't like do suplexes or anything. But the actual school was cool and everything. You know, I just the scene as a whole was not maybe the most inspiring place. Sometimes I think it would have been a really cool to have had a bit more focus and determination there, because I think a similar time, you know, like Mark Andrews and Pete Dunne and stuff were starting, and I mean they stuck at it and they had a. Sorry, man, I just got to plug my phone in. Oh.
See, Apple phones, or hopefully it's an Android, you know, they've actually got the battery length to survive. Sadly, iPhones, no so much.
We didn't get it. No way. I had to relocate. But yeah, so it was like not the most motivating scene in the world. But then when I came back to it when I was like 20, I didn't really know about like independent wrestling. I'd been on like shows that weren't WWE, obviously, but I don't know that they count as like indies. They would just like small family shows. But then first time I went to Progress, I was like, oh my Lord, this is insane. Because it was like such a live atmosphere, you know, and like so fun. And then I think I've just got better from there, really.
Oh, hey, fair dues indeed, my friend. And obviously, yeah, the British scene's fried with so much going on. Up in Scotland, we've got ICW, Discovery, Pro 2, and Rev Pro, and Progress, and Riot Cabaret. So many other great promotions down south, even Wales, Northern Ireland. Chuck, to see the wrestling scene in the UK fried from when you originally went to it and now, does that really give you a sense of pride as a British wrestler?
Yeah, for sure, man. Absolutely. Yeah. It's a cool thing to be a part of. I don't really feel like I could take all too much pride in the like the first boom, because I didn't feel like I played any part in it really. I benefited from it more than I contributed to it. But I think like the kind of like second boom since rebuilding after COVID and everything is really cool to see. Well, like I mean, they're both cool. They were both awesome, but you feel like more pride having like taken a part in the second one.
Fair dues indeed. Now, obviously, TK originally being from New Zealand and coming to the UK, you know, what was it that made you want to come here? Was it, you know, our lovely weather, our good foods? You know, I need to know. We're trying to escape all the time.
Write me a list. No, so kind of similar to Mambo in a way that like the first time I ever saw Progress, but my experience was seeing, because I think what is the deal? Like one of the chapter shows, they were like not happy with the audio or something, so they uploaded it for free onto YouTube.
Nice.
I think it was like chapter 13 or something. So it was just that, seeing that. I feel like I was in my last year of uni or just finishing up uni, so I was kind of deciding like what I wanted to do, and like kind of wrestling was hovering as like something I'd like to kind of pursue a bit more seriously rather than just like hobby it was at the time. And then seeing Progress just at that level and thinking like, wow, I'd really like to be a part of that somehow. And just kind of finished up uni, got my degree, and then moved to the UK with my girlfriend at the time. And yeah, the rest is history, I guess. Really, it was pretty much like didn't have a clue about the rest of the indie scene per se. Had really only a thin grasp of it existed at all. But I really just had my eyes set on being a part of Progress. And then yeah, just started in the Projo, met Mambo, met like a bunch of other people too, and yeah, eventually wormed my way into the Endeavors and got on the main shows, and you know, here we are.
You really kicked ass, friend, and done well. So let's talk about it. TK, it's funny because you're both here as well, so this will be interesting to see if the stories line up. TK, how did you first meet Chuck?
I couldn't tell you what day it was, but it was at the Projo, and I think it was Shoot Wrestling Wednesdays.
It was Shoot Fight Wednesdays, yeah.
There it is. Yeah, he came in on his bike. He said hello, and you know that was our first interaction. Mind you, like I wouldn't say that, you know, me and Mambo hung out exclusively as much as we do now, as we did when I first moved over here. Like I think we were just friends in a group of trainees rather than like specifically friends with each other.
No, hey, good to hear. I mean, Chuck, is that story 100% correct, or is there any things you want to add to the detail?
No, I think that's all true. It wasn't until probably a couple of years down the line we just ended up all being on the same shows as each other. driving the mum van around the country. Also, we realized that we were both big BTE marks, so then we started doing a vlog together. But the first couple of years, yeah, I think we actually paired up in a shoot fight, but neither of us won.
Are we equally strong or equally weak? We'll never know.
We'll never know.
We'll never know the final deciding answer. But Troy mentioned BTE there, being the elite. I loved it, when it run, especially during that pandemic era at Daly's Place. Dark Order, Brody Lee with the Papers, and obviously there was the older stuff as well, Ring of Honor and stuff like that. Chuck, do you feel like BTE was maybe a great entry point for some fans to be introduced to wrestling?
Wow. Probably. I think it was a really cool way of using like a new format to tell wrestling stories as well. Because even myself, I can't speak for TK. I think TK might be a little bit more up to date on things, but there would be times when they were telling like Ring of Honor storylines that I was like loosely familiar with what was going on, but I'd be like, shit, I really need to see this like New Japan show or this Ring of Honor show. So even people that were like already pretty converted, I think it helped add like another layer of interest. And then, I mean, it makes sense that it would gather a whole new group of fans. I don't really understand. People on YouTube will like, I don't know, they post a video of them going shopping and people like to watch it. So I guess it's like a fun new entry point, I guess. Yeah, like you say, for a whole new generation of wrestling fans.
Right, absolutely indeed. Now, obviously, gentlemen, you both mentioned Progress, and I've had the current co-owner of Progress, Lee McAteer, on talking about how much is a great promotion and what's being put on. I want to know, with Progress, do you feel like Progress is maybe the beacon of UK wrestling? TK, I want to know your thoughts first, pal.
I think it's definitely a strong contributor. I feel like since the comeback, well, it's like a post-COVID sort of situation, like Progress, Rev Pro, a lot of like, I mean, I suppose it's harder for you to kind of take stock of this because you live opposite end of the country to us, but like even the smaller promotions or up and coming promotions, as I say, like Purpose, like Riot Cabaret, Wrestle Force, other like kind of like London adjacent promotions are really putting a shift into like growing the scene. And like I would say like a Rev Pro or a Progress is probably, you consider it like a finishing school to like where you bring your best presentation of yourself onto the big platform, and that's hopefully a jumping off point for you to go XYZ, I don't know, like maybe Europe, maybe America, maybe Japan, etc. But yeah, definitely I couldn't tell you why I don't think Progress is a beacon, but I definitely think it has the opportunity to like offer people like us in the position we're in now. Like we've risen up through the perceived ranks that I think like it's definitely a good place for us to be right now.
Absolutely. And Chuck, what's your thoughts on that as well, about Progress being a beacon for the UK scene?
I'm sorry, I've been all over the place today. My phone wouldn't charge, but it's charging now. So no, absolutely, man. I think BritWres has like a few different like cool beacons. I think you got like, technically, I guess it's not BritWres, but like OTT, you got ICW, you got Progress and Rev Pro, and then like Attack and the Southwestern Chaos and stuff. And you were saying the name Disco, and like I don't know. I think there's all kinds of awesome places across BritWres, but definitely Progress, I think, being one of the, what would you call it, like a catalyst for wrestling getting so big in the UK. It's got like such a kind of long, proud lineage. But then maybe I'm probably a little bit biased because like I've been there nearly the whole time. So not on the show, mind you, but like grew up there. So obviously I'm going to have a bit of favoritism.
Yeah, there it is indeed. And obviously, Progress is mostly held in Camden Town. And I feel like when I've been there, as a tourist and all that, and seeing Camden, it's a place with its sort of own culture and environment. And I always feel like that's what's so fascinating about it. I wonder from yourself, Chuck, do you feel like the environment and culture of Camden mixes well with Progress and gives it its own special identity?
I reckon it probably does play into it somehow, right? Like, because it actually started at what was it called? The Garage down the road, which was probably my favorite wrestling venue of all time. It wasn't sustainable because the locker room was about the size of a fridge, but Yeah, no, I think that especially back when it was branded as like punk rock pro wrestling, it really felt like something that was like I don't know if countercultural would be the right word, but it was kind of like nostalgic for a whole era of wrestling fans when WWE was kind of pretty tame, for want of a better word, or sanitized or whatever. Like having somewhere to go where like everyone on the street is a punk, and like you go into this ballroom and like it's got a cool lineage of like wicked punk bands that have played there and stuff, and they have metal night on the night before, and then you like get to go to this show where everyone's going like nuts, and there was unlicensed like copyright free music entrances as well, so like it actually was kind of like half like one of those metal DJ night things. So I think it does play together. Yeah, that's a good point, man. I never really thought about that.
Well, it's great to see. And obviously, you guys are Sunshine Machine, and an interesting name in itself, and I love it, and I love what the crowd were chanting as well. So I want to know the origin of this. TK, can you tell me the origin of Sunshine Machine?
Yeah, so it is. Well, it's funny that we talk about this today with what's happened on the internet today regarding us. But so originally, Sunshine Machine was the name of our finisher, which was coined. I can't remember where. Like somebody on Twitter had. I don't think I was actually involved in this. I think they were talking about Mambo and Drew Parker, and I just kind of got like usurped into. I kind of just got like not forced, but like just by proxy because we're a team. I'm now a part of it. But they were calling Mambo and Drew the Sunshine Princes, I think, and then now, so as I say, purely by proxy, now that I'm associated with Mambo, I'm allowed to be a Sunshine Prince. So that kind of parlayed into what we were doing with, originally the team was called ETM, Escape the Midcard, which was also the name of our vlog at the time. And our finisher was called the Sunshine Machine, which was just like, again, a play on the Sunshine Prince, Sunshine Boys, yada, yada. But that name itself came from FTR's finisher. Well, obviously they weren't called FTR at the time, but FTR, the Shadow Machine. So, mind you, our move isn't similar at all. Theirs is like Flapjack, Codebreaker. Ours is was what the hell's the move? Air Raid Crash with Double Stomp. So they're not similar in any way. It's just purely more of just a homage, but the name just kind of linking it in. And then through the pandemic, we just kind of, because I think just before the pandemic as well, mind you, we were going by ETM, and it was more just kind of by default because we needed a name for the team that we weren't necessarily committed to like 100%. Like we were doing the vlog every week, but we just started getting asked and offered like, oh, like we've seen the vlog. Would you guys like to be a team? And we'd rather take a booking than not. So of course we're going to say yes. And then it just became more natural, became more fluid that we were like, oh, this is actually kind of sick. We're kind of good like this. So, and unfortunately, just as we started to start rocking, COVID kicked in and we had everything shut down. So it was only through the pandemic we started having a bit of a back and forth of like, okay, maybe like whenever this COVID thing stops and wrestling does come back, what do we want to do? Do we want to just pursue what we were doing before, or do we really want to give this tag team thing a proper go? And we both agreed, like, yeah, let's be serious. Let's do this instead. Let's evolve. Let's move on. And then we started like workshopping names, and then we came around to Sunshine Machine. To be honest, I was actually really against it because I had other ideas that I was like a bit more, I guess, like attached to, because I had pitched them and I was like, I don't really want to call it Sunshine Machine. Like that's already the name of the finisher. Like I wasn't really up for just maneuvering things. But eventually I came around, and it's ended up being the best choice. Because I do remember when we first got announced on the Progress like lockdown graphics, everybody was kicking off at Progress, being like, why have you made them change the name? We love ETM. And then obviously just time has passed, and now people have found their own place to chant Sunshine Machine in the song. So it's all worked out for the better.
Person on Twitter, I was like, to be fair, we chose to change the name.
Yeah, Mambo did bail them out. Mambo did bail them out.
The old IWC, they're a fun collective sometimes, and as old Brian Danielson says, fickle they are sometimes.
But yeah, thankfully, like it does seem like the name Sunshine Machine really does get across the brand of like what we do. So and like the personalities, the work, the actual the in-ring work that we do, it really does encompass everything. somehow.
Wasn't it Germany? A guy was saying that to us the other day. It's just like, I mean, it's so cool because like sunshine, like fun, and then like, but a machine because machine's tough. We were like, oh, awesome, you get it.
He gets it. He's sorted. And you have a great entrance theme as well, guys. And I truly loved it when I was there for Riot Cabaret, all singing, all dancing, and I saw you guys come out, and it's just hearing that connection. I was like, wow, this really works. How did that theme come about?
Well, there's an awesome person goes by the name Hot Tag Media. And I think because what was happening? Because WWE Network was going to air Progress or whatever, or because Progress was streaming to I don't know, whatever reason, they were going copyright free. But the one thing I think both of us really didn't want to happen was to have like things that sounded like the music that we already had before, but just like not as good. Because that just feels like you've got something like less good. But what we just thought like, let's just try and have something completely different. And then we basically just like said some of our like catchphrases and move names and stuff to Matt, and then he did us the real solid of being like putting in the line like the greatest team, which quite a lot of people seem to pick up on like online and stuff, which is handy. I mean, if you're gonna have like 2 minutes of music to come out to, it might as well tell the world that you're the greatest team. But the best thing was because my old music used to have me at the start going like Mambo, or like someone saying it, and then we tried to do a thing like in the pandemic where like, because I came back before TK came back or something, so we're like, we'll have like a version where it's just the music and it just has like Mambo at the start or something, but then when we become a team it will have like the music and the lyrics and it will say like something else. But somehow we couldn't get like Sunshine Machine at the start of it in time, so Matt, who is amazing and incredible and everything he's done is so good, but this one fix is just so embarrassing because it went like Mambo and then just and TK.
Like if you're a What Culture Pro Wrestling fan at all, you might remember I think it was Joe, what's his name, Joe Hendry and Joseph Connors, where he did like the Raw intro but changed the lyrics, and they're very similar. It's like play Joseph Hendry's music and Joseph Connors. Like it was like as soon as I heard that, I was like, man, I sound like the Robin. Like if this is a Batman and Robin situation, I am like I'm maybe I'm not even Robin in that instance. I'm Alfred, like.
But actually, he fixed it in time for us in the end, and that's how you get lovely voices at this song.
Well, hey, it worked out, and you guys got a banger female bit. So I would say tick on the old book there. Now, obviously, Progress was on the WWE Network for a wee while. Was there, and just seeing like the promotion that you guys watched and were, in Thrive to become who you are now because of that promotion, being on the network, it must have been like a sense of achievement, right? TK, when your thoughts on that, my friend?
Yeah, I feel like it's hard to really contextualize it because it feels like, yeah, like I'm on the WWE Network, that like in and of itself should be a big deal, but I guess because it wasn't necessarily like WWE content, it wasn't NXT, it wasn't Raw or SmackDown. It was kind of like it was a cheat. It was a cheat to get to the truth. Where like, yes, it is the truth. I'm on the in pure fact, I can tell you I'm on the WWE Network, but by the same token, it's not the same. Like I feel like everybody who produced, who wrestled, who made those episodes of like lockdown content, like everybody was given 110%, but it's not the same. It's not the same privilege as actually being a WWE superstar and being on the WWE content. So.
Or even being an indie wrestler with a crowd, because
yeah, true.
cool.
That would have been
I think
a
everyone
benefit.
is really busting their ass and doing some good wrestling, but like with no one in the room, it kind of sucks. God bless the commentators though; like they saved my soul every time we had to wrestle, and every time you had to watch it back as well, because they really like, as much as the wrestlers gave 110%. They had to do the whole shows just staying that enthusiastic, and it really did keep everything alive. But if I was to be on the WWE Network again, I pray there'll be a crowd.
Well, who knows with NXT Europe or whatever things will happen? We could see you boys in a
who knows?
Get that on there. I mean, I always say to my friends, like, oh, it's like, what was your first wrestling experience? I was like, watching WrestleMania Pandemic. That was like my first ever Mania. And it's like, oh, wow, cool. So you saw Mania with nobody there. I was like,
Well,
yeah,
that was your first one.
yeah, that was my first one. I got into wrestling in 2019, so I'm a late bloomer, as they say. But obviously, that whole pandemic, well, as horrific it was, I want to know, were wrestling in those kind of no crowd environments, do you feel like they were a bit of an addition to your skill set? I want to know your first on that, Chuck.
I mean, they were a test on the old gas tank for sure, because you couldn't rely on the crowd filling any of the silence.
But do you feel like it was beneficial just for maybe like obviously no crowd work and you're working in a different mindset?
I suppose I can't think of anything specifically tangible that we got out of it, but I see what you're saying. Like, you'd come in and have to try and think of like different ways of doing a match that wouldn't rely on the classic formula. But it did feel a bit like doing like pantomime without an audience, like so much of like I'd say the crowd are like maybe even 50% of what makes wrestling so fun to me, because they really do like control the pace of a match. I know people are like, who works for who or whatever, but like the point of wrestling, I think, is that like it's the only sport where they can actually have an effect on what's going on in the ring. I mean, maybe other sports as well, but like by design in wrestling, the crowd have an effect. So that so I've lost my train of thought. Sorry.
No, it is indeed, my friend. What about yourself, TK? That pandemic had a no crowd. Do you think it's an addition to your skill set?
I mean, it's quite like a similar feeling to Mambo. Like, I don't really know how much it's like applicable to like normal wrestling, but I will say I feel like it added an element for us in like something that we still use now, is just like how much more vocal we are between each other, because like in the lockdown you had to like try to just make noise, to be engaging, to be interesting. So me and Mambo would just always be like screaming at each other, whether it was just to make each other laugh or whether it was like actually trying to help to remind the other one what's going on. That I think we still use that now.
That's 1,000% true. Yeah, good call, man.
Hey, great to see, indeed, getting something out of a horrific situation. But obviously, you guys, as I mentioned in the intro, former Rev Pro and Progress Tag Team Champions, and many others as well. But the Progress one, I believe, was your first win as a tag team for Tag Team Champions, if I'm correct, yes?
Sadly, no.
Oh.
No, so mind you wouldn't know this because it was the first year you started watching wrestling, so I can't imagine you were watching this. But we the first tag titles we ever won were a promotion just outside of London, for a promotion called EWA, where we won the tag titles in a 4-way match, and then we almost didn't win because the referee just like, we hit our finish and he just counted 2 and then he just didn't count the 3, and me and Mambo just both staring at him like, what are you doing? And then he just like was hovering over the 3rd and just went 2, and then we were like, oh my god.
And I thought it was someone else's fault. I thought that someone had come in and broken it up. So I got in the ring, like grabbed them and threw them out, and then I'm throwing potatoes, just like everybody stayed out.
And then I think I just had to hit like a for real swanton, because like the guy was just lying there. So I was like, well, we gotta win with something. So I just went up and did a swanton bomb, and then we won the belt.
The reason you're the master.
It's like the Phantom Reign with the Rockers and the Heart Foundation. It's like, it happens, but things happen out of control. But all right, let's talk about the Rev Pro championship wins. Obviously Rev Pro, an established company down south, and so many greats, Osprey being a champion, Ricky Knight Jr., and so many others. To have that as your on your record now, I mean, that's a hell of an achievement, lads. Mambo, first thoughts on that, my friend.
Oh yeah, I was marking out hard. I think it was actually our second match of the day as well, right? We went from UBW, which is just, I want to say north of London, but I'm not 100%.
I think you're right. In the small town of Biggleswade, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was a Flores Lava show even. But And then and then I mean, even to wrestle the Knights, you know, they got such a proud reputation in Brit Rest, and then to take the results off them was really fun. And I think there's something pretty magical about because Rev Pro, not obviously to like a WWE scale, but compared to quite a lot of indie wrestling shows, they'll run like this smaller venue, this smaller venue, this smaller venue, and then do like a York Hall. And I don't think people expect like title changes on the smaller venue ones and stuff. So it was a good match anyway. It was a really fun match anyway. But when you can genuinely surprise the audience, it does feel like even more of a win. And there was like that kind of like, what the fuck? Like, it was very fun. Yeah.
You love to surprise the fans because that's when you get the real emotions out of them. TK, what about your thoughts on the Red Bull Tag Team Championship win?
Yeah, I think again very similar to Mambo, where like in actual fact, of the big two, Rev Pro and Progress, we won those ones first. So so that was like really special to have such a like quite a big accolade have like be achieved, because it's obviously like really hard in wrestling to set goals where everything is so like not really determined by what you want to achieve. And then even still, like a championship is only as important as you think it is. You know, like matches, championships, it's all whatever. Like it will come and go. It will it will keep your name in the annals of time forever. So it is kind of like, but it's nice to know when you do win it that it's more of like an affirmation of your hard work has been recognized. And I think that was like the main thing for me, just to kind of actualize that, like the work me and Mambo do is being noticed and has been acknowledged today by making us the tag champs.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think it was helpful as well because Rev Pro has like such a kind of like more like the sport of professional wrestling than like the entertainment or whatever of professional wrestling. But we quite a lot of the time we get to shows and stuff and people think we're like a comedy act or whatever if they haven't wrestled us before. And it's like, no, we're like fun and everything. But then once the belt, it's supposed to be like we're really good at wrestling.
Right.
So then having those belts behind us, I think it's funny like what's perception and what's reality and what's perception of fake reality. But at any rate, I think it was helpful for like legitimizing the bell to bell stuff.
Yeah.
It is indeed. And also, you know, before you became the Progress Tag Team Championships, you had a win for the Night of Chaos Championships as well. And those are some stunning belts as well. So I want to know your thoughts, Mambo, winning those titles as well.
Did we win those before?
No, we won those this year, last year in Feb.
That sounds right. Sorry, my so terrible.
But I'm blaming that on the whiskey I'm drinking. It's fucked up my not my.
Hey,
Hey,
I respect the bev. I respect the bev.
I gotta be classy in any forms I can. But let's talk about those Knights of Chaos while we're on the topic. They are some beautiful belts as well. Winning those, Mambo, what did that mean for you?
Ah, man, it was a great moment, dude. It's Chaos is such a cool company because it's like what we were talking about earlier about having these I forgot what we called them, but the really big shows across the UK. Chaos, I think, sometimes doesn't really get the credit that it's due because it's like had some of the craziest matches. It's got like a wicked roster. It's like consistently a platform for like amazing new talent. So yeah, to be able to be like tag champs there just felt like, I guess it's another kind of similar to Retro. It just feels really validating because it's just like, oh wow, cool. The show ran by wrestlers want us to be the tag team champions, so that's nice, especially because they're kind of like the cool wrestlers from the generation before us. So it's a bit like the older kids at school giving you a pat on the back.
You got the validation from the old generation, the old guard, giving you the praise. TK, on those championship win and what Mambo said, there being Chaos maybe being like a sleeper company. Do you think it is kind of a sleeper company?
Oh, 100%. Like the crowd, the repeat crowd that Chaos gets on the regular is like unmatched. I think like the Chaos fans are actually like Chaos fans. Like they are so proud of the product that Chaos produces. So, and I think it really shows when Chaos do their bigger venue shows. that people come from further afield to come and see like the big like pay-per-view style show they're putting on, where and just to see it and take it in, whereas like all the regulars will be there in the droves bringing their friends and family additionally, just to make sure that that everybody who isn't already a Chaos fan becomes a Chaos fan. So I think that's why it's so special to be a part of that, because you instantly get like inducted into their fandom, and you just think like, this is the sort of show I want to be a part of all the time.
Yeah, man. And it's such a cool mixture of like not telling you like not to do stuff, but not being like it has to be indie. There's like, it's like sticks to some classic wrestling like formulas across the card and stuff like that, but then just with like, the wildest stunts ever as well. And like everyone just wants everyone to do the best they can there, which is awesome. I'm trying to remember what the match was that we actually won the belt in. Was it straight against the Aces or?
Yeah, I think we just beat them.
Ah, wild. Every time we get to wrestle the Aces, man, it's so nice. And then the one we had at the big Yate show where I guess we gave them back. We dropped them back. Yeah. Was even more fun. It was nuts. And we tried to turn heel halfway through. We got all desperate and like low blowed them and hit them with a chair and stuff. And then even so, the crowd, I think, were just so happy to be watching wrestling that they didn't really like boo us particularly. They were just like, fucking, but they completely cheered when the Aces won, because they are golden in the Southwest.
True legends indeed, and it's great to see in Chaos. Definitely a promotion I think fans watching should check out. It sounds like an absolute blast as well. Now, obviously, lads, Progress, something you guys watched and then were endeared by, and then you become tag champions for them. I mean, wow, honestly, TK, knowing yourself, coming over and then learning about Progress, and then knowing that in Progress's history book, you are a tag champion and having that belt across your waist. That's got to be like a hell of a moment for you, my friend.
Oh yeah, it's a bucket list thing for sure. Especially, not that I've really seen any kind of like staple Progress ladder matches before, but I feel like just winning, like having it be a win in a match like that, just seemed to be way more. I don't want to say poetic. It just was like a really special moment that I don't know if like a 3 count or a tap out could have really simulated that same emotion at the time for me. But who's to say? History is history. You can't rewrite it. But yeah, it was a very special moment to share with Mambo at the time. I feel like it just kind of really encapsulated our 2 separate journeys to just kind of blow off in that one moment. So yeah, it was really cool.
And of course, Mambo, what's your thoughts on the Progress Championship win?
Well, I remember I promised Charlie that I'd like do the designated driver off of the surfboard, not through it. And then the surfboard broke as we were doing it, so I didn't really have a choice. And then, so initially I was just thinking like, oh my God, I hope I didn't kill Charlie. And then I was like, oh shit, we need to climb the ladders. And then, when it happened, it was outstanding. And TK was like laughing maniacally at the top of the ladder, because I guess as much as belts whatever they are, there's something about the company being like, hey, we want you to have this like awesome moment where like you represent this division of this company and stuff. So yeah, like I think both of us spent nearly like 10 years at Progress at that point, and like TK came all the way through, and like there was times when things were gonna happen and didn't happen, and this and then like to finally be there, and like yeah, it was really, really, really a nice moment. And for the crowd to be so behind us was really sweet. So thanks.
Good to see, honestly. I mean, I do have to talk about this particular image I found, on the Instagram of Progress with you guys with the title in front of the London Eye on a beach, and it looks like a wee HBK tribute.
Yeah, that's not the London Eye.
That's not in London at all. That's a million miles away.
Well, I'm going to take that as my Scottish
on
nationality.
On the beautiful beaches of Dubai, in fact.
Jesus, damn, not bad, lads. Dubai, Jesus. I mean, what was what's the inspiration behind that image? And thought, you know what, let's do a HBK tribute. What, TK, do tell me.
So I think we were actually just. It was the day of the show. Do you remember?
I think the day of the show,
Yeah, I think it was the day of the show, and we misunderstood what we were doing. Like, it turns out we were just going to the beach, but we thought we had to take all of our gear with us. So we had the belts in our bags. So when we were on the beach, everyone's just hanging out, and we were just like, it'd just be a really funny picture to get if it looks like we're naked. So we just like hiked up our shorts and just tried to like place the belts appropriately, and then boom, picture.
There you have it.
Hey, you'll love to see it as well. And
Wait, you
obviously,
still have your on TK?
Huh?
Did you still have your shorts on?
No, not for the picture.
No, thank God. Yeah.
No, I was obviously naked.
no craziness here. Parents, kids, you can still watch. You're okay. Nothing like that is going on here. But being a Rev Pro and Progress tag team champions, not many people can say that as well. And I do want to know, first of all, the Rev Pro tag team championship. I got to know, guys. What was your favorite match of that reign, Mambo? I got to ask first, pal.
Oh, I'm probably gonna have overlooked some really fun ones here, but the first one that comes to mind is the time that we wrestled the Velocities in the Great British Tag League, and it was, I think, like, we needed to win and they didn't need to win, and then it was getting to like the final 5 minutes of the half-hour time limit in the match, or 20-minute time limit, whatever, and like just the like nervousness and like tension in the tail end of that match was definitely one of my favorite things I remember. But also wrestling the Aussies to your call, there was a point, I forget who was doing what. I think they were probably pinning me off of the Coriolis thing,
Or whatever they call it. Yeah, Coriolis. Sorry.
and it's like your call, and it's like Aussie Open, and they'd already like kind of like transcended Brit wrestling stuff. So I think everyone assumed like at that point it's obviously over. And then TK breaks the pin, and then the fucking place just came unglued. It was so crazy. It was like,
we do talk about it. We do really talk about it a lot. I think because it's the first and only time either of us have really experienced like a pin break get such a celebration. Whereas like, like if someone kicks out at 2, or if somebody wins, normally there's like a big like eruption. But I've never felt a room be so elated that the pin got broken up. Like I feel like normally the emotion is like 1, 2, you dive on the pin and people go, oh, nice, cool, it's still going, thank goodness. Like we're glad that the good guys are still fighting. But this one was like particularly like, and I feel like if you have the ability to go watch it, like I think it even does come across on, because like sometimes when you watch things on demand, it just doesn't come across the same energy. But I feel like that one really does read the same as we say.
Yeah. And just one other moment from title defenses, and I will never tell if it was supposed to happen or not supposed to happen, but because obviously I do like the wrist lock thing, and go tip top on the ropes and stuff. God bless him. Mad Cat thought it'd be funny to try and do the same thing, and he like went straight up to the top rope, got too cocky, and tried to do his like funny like Oliver Twist ankle tap thing, and just nutsed himself so bad.
Oh wow! I know you mentioned Mad Kurt there. I do want to. I was going to touch upon it. Sadly, of his passing. Just a true, honestly, shock. If you guys are okay, I just wanted to ask, if you got a favorite memory of Kurt. TK, I want to ask yourself first, pal.
Beyond that spot in the match, I couldn't really say, to be honest. Like he was always a good friend at shows. He was great to chat to all the time. He was such a good laugh. But I can't pretend like I was one of his like closest or nearest and dearest. Like we didn't really hang out outside of shows. He wasn't staying over for, I got loads of just like good, fun memories with Kurt, but nothing particularly iconic in terms of like stories. So like, but no, I just bloody love that guy. He's such a goof. So
Okay.
Of course, it is just true. So, Mambo, what about yourself? You got a favorite Kurt moment, or just besides that one?
I suppose I'm in a similar boat to TK, where like I really, really loved every time I saw him, but we didn't hang out much beyond wrestling. But Just listening to Lycos say the other day, I'd forgotten to just take people's phone and then say, "Why is your phone on the floor?" And I can't explain what the look was, because you'd be like mad at him, and then he'd look at you like you kind of pissed him off, and he didn't understand why, but he was also condescending you. It was so funny. And then one time, I was trying to check the train station that I needed to get to Rev Pro, and he actually wasn't lying, but I had to like check with him 3 times just because he was like such a piece, just such a wind up. I was like, "Am I being got?" And he was like, "No, I promise, I'm actually not getting you." And then like that would make me think that I was, and yeah, I just yeah, what a lovely wind up match.
Yeah, really loved guy. I mean, just seeing the outpour and love, truly loved, and he's going to be greatly missed within the wrestling scene. Absolutely.
Totally.
Laz, obviously, I want to propose the same question that I mentioned for your Rev Pro with your Progress Tag Team Championship ring. Your favorite match, TK? You first, pal.
I mean, the first one that comes to mind anyway is we wrestled Greedy Souls in Cardiff in like a tag team tables elimination match. Not because it was particularly good or particularly bad in any way, but just purely like the last little stretch that we do. Like Brendan comes running in with a chair, and I just headbutt the chair, and he goes flying. And obviously, I'm Samoan, so it doesn't hurt me at all. And then adjacent to that, we'd beaten up Danny Jones and laid him on this table. And as soon as he lay on it, it just like it cracked, and all 3 of us looked at each other like, "Oh no, get off, get off, get off, get off!" Because like how many of those like Botchamania clips have you seen where like the guy's lying on the table and it breaks early or it falls over? So we're just already panicking. Like, Danny, you got to like kind of half lie on it, half get off it, because this is the crucial. This is the last table we've got, and we need you to go through it. So you can't break it now. But anyway, so then circle back around. Mambo's on. So I don't know if you've seen it before. I don't know if your viewers or listeners have seen us do it, but we have this bit where Mambo pretty much like circus climbs up, stands on my shoulders, and normally we do it from the ring to the floor, and he'll do like a crossbody or a flip. But for this one, obviously, we were stood on the stage. He yells out Sunshine Machine rules and just does a big splash onto Danny through the table. I just think it was just a really cool thing to do. That's why I liked it.
Yeah.
Mind you, I think Mambo's elbows and knees almost exploded, and I just stood there going, "Yeah, Sunshine Machine, awesome." But,
it only hit me like a few seconds before that it was gonna really suck, and it did.
Indeed, Mambo. Is that also your favorite, Progress title
That
defense
was
during the game?
a fun one for sure. I think the first thing that came to mind was when we got to wrestle FSU for the belts last. What'd you call it?
Last December, last unboxing.
Unboxing. Yeah. Because for a number of reasons, actually. Like, one thing, I think it's always been a bit of a goal for me and TK to have tag team wrestling as like to prove that it can main event any show.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like the second Progress chapter that we main evented. Is that right?
I can't really remember.
Well, anyway, it was like cool to know that like we'd gotten it to be like a main event attraction. And then secondly, there was a little bit of nerves. I think mostly I remember Eddie being like, I mean, this is unboxing. Aren't they going to be thinking like Motor City Machine Guns or someone is going to come out? But like, obviously we knew, and FSU were like my favorite tag team as soon as I saw them. So we're in the ring, and then FSU's chants start. And I was like, oh my God, this is so fucking sick. And then like they came out to party hard. I was just like, fuck. And they had the shields as well from like the original Progress titles. And I was just being a big mark. But I love everything about that match, man. I think even like at the start, I got like too excited that I got nervous, and I kind of wrestled like a little bit slow. But then by the tail end, oh my Lord, I feel like everyone's firing on all cylinders on that one.
Dudes, indeed. I mean, the Red Pro and Progress tag belts are truly beautiful. I mean, look, I'm a belt guy. I'm a wallet's paying for it every single day. But God, I would love to have replicas of those. But I want to know from yourself, guys, holding those belts, which design was your favorite? I got to ask you first, Mambo.
Well, I tell you, we didn't have to choose because we had them simultaneously. Oh, baby. But I don't know. I think they're good for different reasons because the Rev Pro one really looks like kind of like a proper sporting belt, which I think is pretty cool because it like ties in. It just suits Rev Pro's brand of being like the sport pro wrestling.
Yeah, the belts are so majestic. They're like so beautifully made. All the gems in them make them look really nice.
Which is really awesome. And
They're
then
a unique shape, but then so is the Progress ones.
the Progress one's also a very unique shape, and then they're like a callback to the Shields from when it was like Shield and the Staff and stuff. And like I quite like that it's I thought one was silver and one was gold, but I don't think that's the case actually. I only held them for a year. Didn't really like but I will say the Progress ones are pretty fucking sharp. I got color off them a couple times, not even like from a belt shot or anything. So I guess if I had to tip it just based on anything, maybe the sharpness. But nah, they're so nice, and they fit like each company's vibe too. So.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. And
Sure
DK, what about yourself? Have you got a favorite belt, or are you equally like they're both great?
I suppose on the off chance either promoter sees this, I will say both are great. I'll stay diplomatic and I'll play it safe. I'll tell you once you turn this off, I'll tell you. So.
Sorry, folks, that's for the exclusive. This is like AEW Dark. This is the stuff we get afterwards. It's the special stuff.
The Soul Sessions Patreon link will be posted below. You can get all that behind the scenes. So.
Yes, absolutely. Please fund my drinking and belt collecting habits. They are the two passions I have in life.
Hey, man. Passion.
But obviously, when I first saw you guys wrestle, I mentioned Riot Cabaret, All Singing, All Dancing. And
what a show.
Indeed, it's funny story as I mentioned before. I originally wasn't going to go to it. I was going to go see Fozzy perform, but I had a guest, Arthur Scurro, mentioned it, and I was like, okay, let's give this a try. And you know what? No regrets there. I mean, TK, telling me about the environment of Riot Cabaret. It's like its own kind of self community, right?
Yeah, it is. It is really unmatched. Like, we were talking about like the Chaos Club. They call themselves the Chaos fans. Riot Cabaret is totally like in and of itself. Like, it does very much like mesh in. You have all the same usual suspects that come to your Rev Pros, your Progresses, but then there's just like this extra lump of I don't know who coming to Riot Cabaret that really, really like lift the atmosphere. Not that like obviously not that a Rev Pro has like a bad atmosphere, but just like there was just something different in the water at Riot Cabaret for some reason. Just like things move differently at Riot Cabaret, and it's just intangible.
I think there's something about midweek wrestling that somehow you would think it would make people less leery, but they seem to have more fun. And the other thing, I think a lot of the time at the pub afterwards, people will be like, "Oh my god, I've never been to a wrestling show before. I haven't even watched it since like WrestleMania 20 or something." And so like there's this excitement in the I don't know what is different about their marketing or branding or whatever. I guess that they have Mr. Blobby quite often, but that it like brings people in that are like, I loosely remember wrestling, but I don't really care about it. And then they watch it and they're like, oh my god, this is the best ever. And it probably, I would imagine, surpasses like your expectation of what wrestling would be outside of like an arena, because it's like such grand presentation and they have such good wrestlers at like such a high quality. And then the other stuff they do that makes it a variety act, like the comedy and the what do you call it? Drag
Cabaret.
Cabaret. Yeah, I guess cabaret. The riots in the cabaret.
Trying to find an umbrella term for you. I don't know. I'm not sure.
The variety show is just like so everything brings something different and good to the show. So like, yeah, wow.
Really, and as well, obviously that show and Riot Cabaret kind of kicked off what was All In Weekend, just a true fun environment of wrestling, Progress holding shows, Red Pro hosting shows, and then All In by AEW, kicking everything off there. I was down there and just seeing like that wave of wrestling shirts everywhere, fans everywhere chatting about it, and that kind of culture descending upon London. As a fan, I was like, yeah, this is cool. But as wrestlers, that's going to be like a whole other ballpark of like enjoyment. Mambo, thoughts on your first that pal?
Well, I'm trying to remember what happened now. So we had the Riot Cabaret, And then was it Progress the next day?
Yeah, then we had Defy and Progress the next day.
I am Progress, yeah. So I mean, I think the best. Selfishly, I mean, okay, so there was two things. One, we got like nosebleed seats and just watched and had a fucking great time being wrestling fans, which is really fun. And then two, I think TK pointed this out once. Tony Khan had said they're going to come back again next year. It kind of means that we've got like a WrestleMania weekend that's going to hopefully be in the UK every year. So it's just like so good for bringing like more eyes and more shows and more money to everybody. Like it was a busy weekend, and I would imagine that this year now is going to be like even busier because it's hopefully just grows and grows and grows. So yeah, no, it's great news for everybody and a ton of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And TK, what were your thoughts on the whole all-in weekend and that whole environment within London?
Yeah, I just feel like the energy and the atmosphere were just so good. I mean, maybe I'm biased because I was constantly in like I would say like a fugue state of just the constant, like, because we were always performing, you're always kind of in that mode. So like we had Riot Cabaret on the Friday, we had Defy like 11 a.m. the next morning, we had Progress that afternoon. The next day, the actual day of All In, we had to we got to host a bottomless bingo brunch thing, which again, it was like basically pre-drinks for everybody. So we're also on the Prosecco's as well, so we're having a laugh, and then go to All In, enjoy it, like just again, like Mambo said, as spectators, as fans, and just actually get to like take in the 87,000 or whatever the real number was. Who cares? And then the day after that, on the Monday, on basically the hangover day, we were in the Hooked on Wrestling, what did they call it? Tombola tag team random tournament. We're just like 16 people get randomly assigned tag teams. So like, and then it ended up being me and Mambo against each other with different partners. So just all of that was like, again, just a constant like 4-day blur of the most incredible wrestling weekend I've ever been a part of.
Yeah, it was great. And then the other thing, just about like Defy being there, and we got to wrestle the Bollywood boys, and then like QT Marshall, I got to wrestle him at Progress that afternoon. Like, I think it will bring way more acts, like the same way that a lot of Brit Rest goes to like whatever time WrestleMania is in. I think more American wrestlers will come to London or whatever city they do All In. So then you get like more of those like indie matches between like a team that are over there, but maybe not over enough to fly over all the time or whatever, or like just the budget doesn't work. So like you guys have like loads of more cool, like not indie dream matches, but like nearly indie dream matches.
And in a similar way, like you get new fans as well. There were quite a few like American and Canadian fans at the Defy show that were like, hey man, we've never seen you guys before. You guys are awesome. And so it's like, just like the experience that they have here of us, they've taken it back to America, and maybe they're in their like American group chats being like, hey, you guys heard of Sunshine Machine? They were really cool when I went over to, it's just like all these like different avenues for so many people, like not limited to just us, but like so many opportunities potentially for American people to come over and wrestle our guys, and then take that feedback back to America, like, hey, you got to book these guys. And then similarly, again, with like I'm saying with the fans, like like that's how a lot of stuff works. Just like once Twitter gets a hold of a certain somebody, suddenly they're a superstar. So like there's so many new, like AEW's created so many unintentional opportunities for all of us across the scene, I think. So I can only imagine the All In wrestling schedule that will be this. Maybe people will start running shows on Wednesday, Thursday in the run up. I don't know.
That'd be awesome. Hopefully the same thing happens in Germany with this like summer Bashmania or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah, true.
Oh, hey, I'll take it. I mean, I'll happily spend the PayPal and the Nectar points just to attend all these shows the best ability I can. But something I would love to see is with like even like a WrestleMania come to the UK, or obviously with All In, even on like 0 Hour or a pre-show thing, it's like a British showcase, like a battle royale or a match or something like that, just to show our talent to the world. And I want to know from yourself, guys, if you could be on that as a tag team against another tag team, maybe even within WWE or AEW, or even like someone you really like from the UK scene, who would you like to be in on this showcase on the grandest stage of them all at a WrestleMania or an All In? Mambo, you're first.
So are we talking about if we could wrestle any team, or if we were in a showcase match, who would we want to wrestle, like to try and get us and another pair of our friends over?
Let's say some of your friends over. Who do you want to get over?
I think if we were going to be in there with anybody, I would love to be in there with the Smoking Aces, for sure.
Oh, okay. Very, very good pick there. TK, do you agree, or is there someone else in your mind?
I definitely do agree, but I was trying to think if I could like think of anybody else I would prefer. But no, I feel like we have the best chemistry with the Smoking Aces.
Okay, wow. I mean,
Although if
hey,
we go 1-2-1 like Chantoff thing, but in Wembley Arena, that'd be pretty sweet.
that would be a banger
We've been
indeed.
very actually with different people to work with, but yeah, I feel just like from the sagas of the last few years, it would be pretty sweet to take a Smoking Aces match there.
Take it to the next level, boys. Indeed. Now let's pose the question to someone from the company. So let's go with. Let's think about this. WrestleMania in the UK in Wembley pre-show, and you have to go against any WWE tag team. TK, who do you want to go against?
Well, I feel like the obvious answer, obviously they're not together on telly now, but I feel like the obvious answer would be the Usos, where it's just like seems like the most our style team that we would gel with. Maybe also the New Day, maybe Kofi and Xavier. Those would be the first two teams that come to mind. Yeah, so I'll go with them.
Good pick. Mambo, do you agree, or is there some other tag team on that mind?
I mean, yeah, they would be that. They would be the ones for sure. And though we never really got to, well, we never got to wrestle them on the Indies. Wow, what's Sammy Smooth's name?
Pretty Deadly.
Pretty Deadly. Yeah.
Oh,
I was thinking
that's a much better choice. That's actually a much better choice.
Unless we're talking Time Machine, in which case maybe it'd be cool to wrestle the APA.
Magic can happen. Never say never in wrestling. You never know what could happen. But let's propose the same question to AEW. It's 0 hour. You guys are out there, and any AEW tag team. TK.
I mean, AEW, I feel like is a much harder one where there's so many teams I'd like to wrestle. Best Friends, Young Bucks, Lucha Bros, FTR, Top Flight, the Hardys.
Oh my god, yeah, that'd be so sick.
Like, I think obviously like the Hardys can't necessarily go in the same way the Hardys used to go, but like just purely for the fact that you could say I wrestled the Hardys, I feel like I'd really like to wrestle the Hardys.
Yeah, man.
Oh, that would be a one. Man, would you agree the Hardys? Maybe someone like an Adam Copeland and Christian, maybe.
Oh man, just put us in a TLC with Edge and Christian and the Hardys. That'd be sick.
Oh god, shall we just throw in the Dudleys just for extra good luck and bring it back to 2000?
Perfect.
And then take that.
Well, obviously, with tag team wrestling, there's so many beautiful tag team wrestling championships, as we mentioned. But let's say in a dream match scenario against, any opponents of your choosing, you get to go against them for a tag team championships of your liking, from based on design, from all time, from old days to now to current. I want to know which tag team championships out of all time would you love to have over your shoulder? Mambo first, my friend.
Man, that is a good question. Honestly, I think possibly the current AEW ones. I just think they look really, really nice. Ooh, that one, man, I like that. The only other one that really popped into my head was like after the invasion, the WCW tag belts look pretty sick, but I can't even fully remember what they look like, to be honest with you.
Hey, hell of a pick. I mean, hey, hell of a pick, yeah, Mambo. TK, what about you? Do you agree AEW and WCW or?
AEW, yes. WCW, I can't remember what they look like, but I personally would have said like the Ruthless Aggression era SmackDown titles, because they just look really cool. And I think all of my favorite tag teams of that era were held those belts. Los Guerreros, World's Greatest Tag Team, Edge and Rey Mysterio, Rob Van Dam and Rey Mysterio. Yeah, those I think like the look of those tag titles. I mean, they were quite basic. I think it was just like a half a semicircle with a bit of blue dipped in there. But those are my favorite, I think.
Yeah,
Fabulous picks indeed. Now, obviously, I want to throw kind of a bit of a tricky question here. We've talked a lot about Progress, and Progress has had many great world champions. So I want to know, guys, who is your favorite Progress world champion? TK, you
Well,
first, bud.
I can't really remember his reign, but I want to say Tommy End, just because I thought he's just the coolest wrestler. But I honestly couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you which matches like he had as champ or who he won the belt off of. I just remember he was the champ, and it was really cool.
Oh,
Was he even the champ though? Am I wrong? Did he even win the belt?
Oh,
Tommy End?
Yeah.
Oh,
let's
Or did he
pull
just
up
challenge? Or did he just challenge a bunch of times?
I think possibly he challenged, got
I
beat.
feel like he might have just challenged a bunch of times. No, that's embarrassing. Damn. Well, I would have really liked it if he'd been the champ, actually.
Yeah, I mean, he was cool.
No, okay. Actual champs. Who is in there?
I'm not much of a historian.
Eddie Dennis was my favorite Progress champ.
Let's have a look here. Let's go on the old cage match, because cage match is always reliable as it is. Obviously, current is Spike Trivet. He's
Of
done
course,
some
but
hell
yeah,
of
no,
stuff.
I will happily lock in Eddie Dennis as my favorite Progress tag team, favorite world champ.
Nice.
Eddie's so good on the stick. He was great on the lead up. He was, even when he was injured and he was still the champ, and he made it work, and then he managed to circle it back down to wrestling again. Untouchable.
Nice.
Like there, man. Would you agree, Eddie Dennis, or maybe someone like Big Damo, Cara Noir, or Walter?
Oh, I tell you what, Cara had a hell of a run, huh? Yeah. And his win was pretty fucking sweet. But I was actually going to say when Mandrews won the MPS and then cashed in and beat Rampage Brown immediately. And that whole match, because I think it was him and Will, right? For the MPS final, I think. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. But anyway, yeah, fucking wild. So good. I think that was like one of the first progresses I'd been to. And I was just like, oh my God, wrestling is so fucking cool.
You'll love to see it, and so many great things. Well, Mambo, TK, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you guys on the Soul Sessions. But before we wrap up, as we're recording this, it's just the start of the year. We're like 3 days in. It's hardly started. So I want to know, what's a goal you would like to achieve in 2024? Mambo, you first, bud.
Ooh. Well, I don't want to. What the hell? What's wrong with aiming too high? Just given how Twitter's been today, I would love to submit Dax from FTR. No, to have a wrestling match with FTR.
That'd be wonderful.
Wow, well, we know what Dax is like on Twitter. He loves to have a good yarn, as he does. But Mambo, I mean, how would you love to go against FTR? Would it definitely be Wembley, or would you like to invade Dynamite and just take them on?
Anywhere. They're such an awesome tag team. They are, as much as we rule, they really are a barometer of global tag team wrestling. And anywhere we can do it, but I think it might, could happen.
You never say never, as I say. I'm sure TK's watching. He's foaming at the mouth to just get you guys on the show. But what about yourself, TK? Do you agree? Is that like something you want to achieve this year against FTR, or is there another goal on your list?
I mean, I guess maybe mine leads into Mambo's. Like, I was just gonna say I would really like to wrestle in America this year, because I feel like we've done England. We're kind of moving into, I say England as if that's all of the UK. Like we did disco once. I'd love to come back there. I'd love to do ICW again with Mambo, if possible. But I would like to go further afield. I would like to take the Sunshine Machine brand to America and see what they think of us. But yeah, if that leads to wrestling FTR in America, then great. 2 birds, 1 stone.
So
I mean, hey, Progress are going over for the States. Things could happen. You never know.
Fingers crossed we get the call.
I'm sure your phones will be buzzing at the entry. Who knows? Maybe we're going back and pagers still exist. Your pager will be going off like crazy.
I'm sure they're sending the Progress pigeon as we speak.
I never understood pages.
It's a 90s thing. It's like Facts and Silly String and Chia Pets.
Silly String there. Yeah, I'm on board with that.
Well, lads, thank you very much for coming here on the Soul Sessions. And viewers, if you love these guys and want to see more of them, I'm going to put their Instagram links in the description of this video. Click that, follow them, see their journey throughout the UK. And when they get to FTR on Dynamite, you can see them kick some ass. That's what
Remember that we said it here first.
Yeah,
on their Wikipedia page, this will be a reference, right? You can click this and see
a little footnote will take you to a link that will take you to this interview, and people will know.
See, exactly. TK, lay off the White Claws. Focus on this. Get this done. All right, come on now, but. Well, folks, thank you for tuning in. TK, Chuck, thank you for being here. I would say the whole YouTuber shtick, but come on, it's 2024. YouTube's been around since 2005. I'm not going to insult the intelligence of the audience, right?
Come on, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. What do we have to do here?
Exactly. Well, hey, folks, stay well and